What up? It's Jack, aka Just a Cunt here, and today I wanted to talk about the best UNC Still Got It MMA wins. Oh fuck, he's gonna get fucking slept, isn't he? Oh my fucking god. Come on, they can. Yeah! The type of wins that really get you on your feet. The ones that you've been waiting for, usually if it's a disenfranchised fighter as well, someone who's been backstabbed and been treated like shit, really gives you something heartwarming to eat before you go to bed. On top of that, I will be discussing Taira and some wins at the end of this video if you are so interested. Nonetheless, let's get into it. Starting off with Glover Teixeira's win over Jan Blachowicz. This happening, I believe, 2023 if I remember right, and this really was a heartwarming. It's one of those MMA moments that they talk about, like, oh, if this fighter wins, blah blah blah. It's like Stipe. It's like, bro, if Stipe beats John Jones, blah blah. It's one of those crazy wins that seems so out of the ordinary that doesn't seem possible, especially because Jan Blachowicz at this point coming off an impressive win over Dominic Reyes, who had recently beat John Jones, who would beat Israel Adesanya, taking away his O. Glover Teixeira seemed like the easiest challenge, especially stylistically. It seemed like on the feet, Blachowicz, who at this point was one of the crazy power punchers, a lot of damage, outstruck Adesanya. It seemed like he would be able to kind of just knock out Glover at his older age, but it ended up going that way. Glover, actually did really good on the feet. And actually, he didn't just walk in there, take him down, and choke him out. On the feet, it was competitive, both having their moments. Jan stayed on the back foot, but it felt like Glover was able to hurt him in the beginning, get him stumbling, and earn his respect early, and eventually started to rock him against the fence, eventually take him down. Jan Blachowicz goes for a Kimura type takedown defense. Don't know why guys go for it. Never fucking works. And eventually gets choked out in a very dominant performance, which is very respectful. On top of that, Glover at this point, who was well in his 40s, didn't retire and chose to not only fight the next contender, being Yuri Prochazka, he then fought for the vacant belt after that in a war against Yuri, which was incredible, one of the best fights of all time. And then against Jamal Hill in a decently exciting fight. He didn't look as good, but at that point he was pretty washed, but still the longevity, 21 fights in the UFC until he fought for the UFC belt, or until he won the undisputed belt on a 5-fight win streak. This was a fluke. He didn't just like show up one day. He wasn't like Dan Henderson where he got handpicked and got a quote-unquote lucky win, or he got a lucky title shot. He earned his title shot, beating Thiago Santos, Anthony Smith, Nikita Krylov. He beat a decent bit of guys to get to this point and won very dominantly. Didn't beat Yuri Prochazka, but was on his way to winning before he, made a mistake, jumped the ghillie. He had some fight IQ mistakes, and then eventually got submitted. Then fight Jamal Hill in Brazil, and while not winning the fight or making it super competitive, he physically held up very well. Didn't get dropped, got rocked a decent bit, was eating good shots, but was giving back his own. He really impressed me a lot later in his career. It really shows where longevity can get you. So nonetheless, I hope Glover Teixeira, who is a legend, should get the respect he deserves for being one of the greatest light heavyweights of all time and just proving that UNC still got it. Moving on to Uriah Faber. This one, Uriah Faber was 40 years old. It's one of his last UFC fights, and this was impressive for a multitude of reasons. Uriah Faber has never struck me as being the most impressive of fighter, in the sense of he's an older fighter, but even for his time, he didn't beat a bunch of people, right? He had the win over Dominic Cruz, very impressive, but when Cruz was very young in WEC, and Faber was always a very solid guy, but got beat up by Jose Aldo, had some holes in his game, but he's an older fighter, still great. But going against a great prospect who, to this day, Ricky Simone is still getting good wins, looking solid, still getting knockouts, looking really good. Well, not a top contender. He's by no means a bum. He's actually a good gatekeeper for a lot of fighters, and a test that a lot of guys don't get through. Song Yudong took him 5 rounds. There's a couple of people that made this very close. Obviously, Marab lost to Ricky Simon. This is a great win, and this is at 40 years old, where Faber was 2-3 in his last 5 before this. And on top of all that, he gets a first-round KO. This man is kissing the ground, praying. My brother is at the mosque. I don't know what the fuck happened. Your Faber has something in his hand, had this brother on the ground kissing and praying, bro. This was an incredible performance. First round knockout gets him out of there. One of the biggest crowd reactions you can see. And just a very impressive performance, especially Faber, who's not really known for having knockout power, right? It's not like Francis is coming back and, getting a big win while being 40. It's a very skilled, technical shot, drops him, hurts him multiple times, gets the finish. Something your Faber should be very proud of, and this is really one of the best performances I've seen from an older guy in a way that you usually don't expect. Usually these guys are crafty, or they use their grappling, or, this, that, the other. Your Faber looked very good, and he didn't look old in this fight. Looked very good, looked very young, very healthy, and one of the best finishes of your Faber's career coming at the very end of his career. Nonetheless, moving on, you guys should have seen it coming. Volkanovski, man. This meant something to me, man. I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. This meant something to me, man. Back-to-back KO losses. 36-year-olds fighting one of the best finishers on the ground and on the feet. Great cardio, incredible chin, incredible power. Diego Lopez is a fucking monster, and he got schooled by Volkanovski. And Volkanovski showed heart. He got schooled, but he still dropped Volk, still giving him problems, still coming forward, never gave up, neither of them. This was a great fight on a pretty great Miami card. For some reason, Miami's got something in the air. They know to bring the best out of fighters, and Volkanovski looked really good in this fight. It was a classic Volkanovski, staying on the back foot, using the leg kick, distant managing, but he was willing to engage in the pocket a lot. In the first round, he came in, hurts Lopez, puts him on the back foot, takes him down, does good work, struggles getting the takedown later, but on the feet, just doing really good with the pocket boxing, doing good at staying in and out with the blitzes, defending takedowns. Looked really good in this fight, and just, you can really feel what it meant for Volkanovski. Volkanovski is one of these guys where, well, on one hand, there's the Kevin Hollands that, kind of try. They're, fluky. They're good. They have good talent, but they're not. And there's guys like Volkanovski who feel like they have everything against them. They're not the biggest guy. They're not the strongest guy. They're fast. They're smart. They've got, some things here and there. They don't have anything, but they have to earn everything they got and work every day to really show up and be the best. And it's something where Volkanovski is the type of guy that, John Jones, if he wasn't fucking in this, he'd be in a fucking prison cell, fucking getting his fucking ass blown out by fucking some dude in jail, right? But Volkanovski, no matter what he does, that brother can be in the kitchen and that man would be literally surpassing Gordon Ramsay numbers. My man would be opening a restaurant every day like title defenses. Volkanovski's got that shit down. That man is from down under. That man is the fucking inspiration for many. Arguably the greatest Australian of all time. He's getting to that point. I've never seen a man more to go back-to-back KO losses, to lose your dreams of being a 2-division champ from Makhachev, someone who you took on a short notice, you never get that fight back, coming back and then getting knocked out by a young prospect who took your belt in your division and, doing that, taking time off, coming back at an older age, breaking the 35 curse, beating a incredibly dangerous prospect in Diego Lopez. I mean, didn't even retire. He's still going. He's still got more in the tank. That's why Volkanovski's the fucking man, and no one can tell me otherwise. Moving on. Robbie Lawler. This was a badass performance, man. This is there's certain ones where guys will get an awe-inspiring performance where they'll show their heart out there. They'll fucking go life and death, fucking barely make it out there alive. Get scraped by us, an incredibly close one that everyone gets up and claps. And there's some people like Robbie that walk in there, uppercut you a couple times and clinch you, flatline you out cold. I don't know what was in the water that day, but Robbie Lawler had places to be. He knew that retirement package was long. This man's career was fucking crazy. Coming into the UFC, getting cut by the UFC, coming back, becoming champion, having some of the greatest performances of all time, some of the greatest fights of all time, most ruthless fights of all time. Robbie being one of the most genuine fighters of all time. Even when he beat Nick Diaz and you saw, their interaction, you kind of feel it's the definition of Uncle got it. It's like when you see two, I don't know if you guys any got older family, older grandpas, uncles, older people that you see them like they've got history together, but they're able to come together and enjoy a big grand moment. And it kind of makes you appreciate yourself and really gives yourself perspective into the future in terms of how your decisions are going to impact the people around you, that you're going to live, you're going to carry that weight. And seeing Robbie Lawler go in there, get an incredible knockout, 1-6, 41 years old, first round flatline KO against who's someone who's known for going to war. Nico Price isn't just some chinny Matt Schnell. He's gone to war with Luque, arguably beat Luque, gone to war with Mike Perry, gone to war with most guys in the division. At this point he's starting to fall, but even during this time, Nico Price was still a fucking dog, and Robbie Lawler went in there and just fucking took care of business. Had me crying up, tearing up, and great retirement package. And it was just a great performance. Nonetheless, moving on, Kamaru Usman. This man's 41 years old, beating Joaquin Buckley, looking like that, dominating for 5 rounds, about a fight for the title. Say what you want about Usman. I know Usman was someone that's gotten a lot of hate. He's gotten more love now at this point in his career, but during his title reigns, a lot of people didn't like him, which I get. Had some boring fights. He beat some fan favorites. When you beat Colby, Jorge, Gilbert, they all are different part of the fan bases that represent big chunks, and you beat all of them in pretty impressive fashion. It's just gonna leave a bad taste in your mouth. On top of that, the steroid accusations. He never popped, but the bumps on his stomach, being able to go that hard while having, that much muscle, while being that big, that powerful, just a physical beast in there. It raises some questions. I'm not here to, to say they're right or wrong, but I still want to appreciate that Usman at this point, he's still going for GOAT status. Similar to Volkanovski, not quite the same because the Leon Edwards, he got caught with the head kick, was winning that fight. Third fight, very close fight. I still think it went to Leon pretty comfortably. Usman got, the point deductions you could argue, but in terms of who won the fight, you have to give it to Leon. And that Hamzat fight was such a fight that was Usman is a bad man, and it was one of those fights where you rooted for him because he was he got taken down, but you felt that momentum shifting, and you want that fight to be 5 rounds. Usman right now, if Usman's able to fight for the belt, if he's able to either pass over Bilal or happenstance gets to the belt, or just beats Bilal and then gets the belt, I think he should go up and try to fight Dricus or Hamzat. Especially if it's Hamzat, I think Dricus is a harder fight, but I think Hamzat in a 5-rounder, I think that's a fucking great fight. And Usman at this point, if he just start to fall apart, and he's starting to pull up LeBron numbers, I think this is interesting. I think Usman still has a lot of proof in his career. And you gotta give Unk some respect. Say what you want about Usman, but I ain't still put there putting fucking work against guys like Young Buck Buckley. Alright, moving on. Demetrius Johnson. Some people say I'm harsh. This channel's had some negativity recently, and I hear the comments, and I agree. I need to stop trying to debate bro my way. I enjoy argument, I enjoy it, and I like to, for my own sake, I like to understand fighters truly as they were and not try to be nostalgified, not try to just give credit or, take away credit from other people. I want to give respect. And to me, Demetrius Johnson, in terms of skill, he's still one of the best fighters of all time. That feels a little small for his division. But moving on to Adrian Moraes. First fight, I believe first or second round, gets knocked out with a flying knee. Doesn't really get outskilled. It's one of those moments where it's fuck. That's a hard one. At that point, Demetrius Johnson was getting older. Wasn't old. He was probably 34, 35 up to that point. But then coming back into rematch, it's not just that he won. It's how technically skilled he looked with the striking, the mixing up, being way smaller than Moraes against a much younger guy coming in the later half of his career, especially his flyweights. That age is going to hit you more when you start to lose some of that speed, that athleticism, that dynamicism. Going in there, great body kicks, looking good with the boxing, and that slick fucking straight, man, fainting at him, not giving him any real good looks, him trying to just grasp at air, goes for a really slow, easy to read hook. Mighty Mouse able to just back out the way, hit him with a great straight into a flying knee. Just Demetrius Johnson is one of those guys, when you get a knockout, it reminds you almost of a prime Conor McGregor, where it's just fucking slick. It's just technically well. There's some brutal knockouts out there, for instance, a guy who take you down, just pound your head in. Mighty Mouse just seems like he's literally playing a video game where it's like you got a big red spot and he just knows how to block out of your way, get out of your shots, move out the way, and just fucking hit you perfectly right there 2 or 3 times, get you out of there. Just incredible. Wins the whole trilogy on top of that. Doesn't just end right there. Fucking goes for the 3-peat. Beats him again for 5 rounds in the clinch. Not as crazy, but still looked good. Used a lot of Muay Thai. Looks like he learned a decent bit from Mogtang, and overall great performance and something he should be very proud of, for Mighty Mouse. And we should give him the respect he deserves for being a multiple organization champion against great competition. But nonetheless, I hope you guys had fun. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm about to talk about the card that happened yesterday. If you guys are interested, stick around. It was a pretty okay card. Peaked at the end, really good at the end. So I'm gonna talk about that. Taira, Elvin Brenner, gonna give a quick peek at that. But nonetheless, if this is the last, if you guys are gonna head out. Taira versus Hyung-Sung Park. Hope I'm saying that right. Unfortunately, Albazi had to pull out. Not too sure why, but it's hard to say. Like for a card that like either like there's certain cards where like the prelims are incredible and the main card's kind of or vice versa. It's hard for me to kind of judge a very polarizing card like that. But in short, most of the card was ass. The last 3 are pretty good. Quick notes to go over. I did okay on this card. I went 8-3. I'm kind of annoyed because I really wanted to pick Chris Duncan. I actually recorded, like in the first time I did my prediction, I recorded doing Chris Duncan, and I was like, fuck, maybe he is kind of chinny, probably will, and this, that. I was like, fuck, no, I'll do this the easy, safe pick, because recently I've been trying to go for some more risky picks, and they've gone hit or miss. I feel like there's just been some decent upsets recently, but, it is what it is. Chris Duncan did look really good in that fight. It was very competitive. He got hurt early. It's just a fucking war back and forth. But I felt like the lengths of Chris Duncan was the big difference there. He's able to land good with elbows, which I'm glad that some fighters do. Some fighters that are very long, they kind of struggle in the pocket because they don't, it's obviously when you have, hooks and uppercuts. With that long range, it kind of gets like almost like it gets like jammed in there. You just don't have as much flexibility as someone with shorter arms. So it was good to see him use elbows that you can works good in close while also still using your range well. So on top of that, at range, he was just doing good at staying at the end of punches. He had the luxury of he could land really hard straight shots, and then when he would get return shots back. He was able to just slightly move the way, and just by virtue of having the lengths and being taller, he has to do less to take the sting off of his opponent's punches, compared to the other way around. But it was a great fight, great performance. Elvis Brenner had a really good fight. I'm a big Elvis Brenner fan. I don't know why. He just beat Garam and just kind of been a fan of him since. He's very much a dog. That's just what it is too. He's just someone who doesn't really give up on himself. Someone who I wouldn't say is chinny, but definitely gets hurt, but does a good job of, coming back. But Esteban Rivovic looked good, just did slightly more. It was a very close competitive fight, but Taira, man, just looked really good. It's hard to say how much he's going to improve from the Royval fight because Royval's such a unique matchup against these guys. He's big and long. He's similar to Nate Diaz, but good at fighting. And the hard part with him is that he could literally just stand at you and just ping your head back, and he could just stand there and do it. Where he's so active, moves a lot for a bigger guy. Where unless you're Joshua Van that can really keep up with that level of volume, it's really difficult to just straight up box with him. So it's hard for me to hold him to against. But Taira didn't like. In terms of defensively, it was hard to gauge because he didn't fight someone, Park's not similar to Royval, so it's difficult to gain that. But in terms of offensively, looked super sharp, dropped him early, and it wasn't just like a knockdown where it's like he hit him with a fluky shot. It was a very sharp, dropped him back to back, or rocked him first, then dropped him, landed him a really good shot, backed up at the end of the punch, came back, almost pull counter, and then, really cut that window in Park's guard and dropped him, controlled him, does what he does best, takes his back, control him, runs the cycle of he's going to take your back, you're gonna get laid out, you're gonna maybe you're gonna give him mount, he's gonna take your back, he's gonna threaten to go to mount, and as you go to try to go defend him from going to mount, he's gonna start choking you again. And you're just going to go through the cycle of the whole round. You're either going to get choked out or you're going to lose the round. It's a lose-lose, and Taira's just the best at that. It's so fun to watch these Japanese wrestlers. I'm glad they're making such a big transition. I'm pretty sure they're doing really good in wrestling right now too. It's like Zim and Russia are like the two best right now. So it's fun to see someone like Tatsuro Taira, that high-level wrestling, that high-level grappling, work well in here and seeing them evolve. It's really good. Because I feel like a lot of Asian fighters, because mainly been Koreans for the most part in the UFC, they're more known for their boxing, very sharp boxing, you know, like TKZ, obviously, I forgot his name, but he's the guy that people are comparing to Conor McGregor, and Pereira got a really slick left hook knockout. But now seeing like these like Japanese grapplers come in here, very entertaining to see, and a very fun style. So excited to see what's next for Tatsuro Taira. I think a fight with Brandon Moreno for a title eliminator could be interesting. There's kind of a triangle here where like a lot of people want to get that win back. You know, Brandon Moreno and Royval are 1-1. I'm sure they want to fight. Tatsuro Taira probably wants to rematch Royval and get that win back. We kind of need to see this Joshua Van fight plays out, because if Van does win, probably going to give him a rematch. But if Van loses, we have another guy here that we can, you know, these four guys we can kind of match up against. Probably do, yeah, it's like difficult to like match up, kind of see it go. But seeing Tatsuro Taira, I don't think he quite deserves a title shot. We shouldn't be giving these one fight win streak guys a title shot. It doesn't work out well. Let them work on their game, let them evolve, let them earn it, you know. Don't have them just rush into the title shot because you think they're a good prospect and they get a good win. So I'd like to see him be put against Moreno, Royval, or Joshua Van if he loses that fight. So say if Joshua Van loses, you can do Tatsuro Taira, Van, and then you could do Royval, Moreno again, you know. Tatsuro Taira is someone I want to get a title shot though if Pantoja does win, because he's kind of the only other guy right now that Pantoja could, you know, it was worthwhile really getting a win. It isn't just a fucking forced win after he's 3-0 with fucking guys. So nonetheless, it's a pretty okay solid card. Anyway, hope you guys had fun. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and yeah, have a good one.